So, welcome to the Dragon Professional Anywhere. This webinar is hosted by the Network of Assistive Technologists on this Friday, the 9th of October, 2020. And we welcome the team from Nuance as they return to the N.O.A.T stage with their most recent update, Dragon Professional Anywhere. The combined power of Dragon and the cloud allows you to use Dragon anywhere. You can leverage speech anywhere, wherever you need to work. It's a lightweight, fast, and accurate speech recognition, and it includes easy-to-use commands, auto texts with variables, and more. And they tell me that there are a few features that may prove very helpful to those with cognitive and other disabilities, supports that you may not normally think of Dragon to be providing. Team is Jamie Klein. Jamie is a solution-oriented senior sales and business development professional with a proven consultative sales approach. Jamie is a proven leader who's known for building and maintaining high-growth client relations. And along with Jamie, we welcome Bill Geyer. And Bill brings over 18 years of speech recognition and related software sales and management experience to the team at Nuance. And one of Bill's areas of specialty is education. So with that said, I now want to hand the presentation over to Jamie and Bill. And as they start their screen sharing and begin today's presentation, and I'm going to stop mine and bring them in here. So welcome Jamie and Bill, and I'm just trying to.
I am unmuted.
There.
That's a dangerous thing.
So welcome, Bill, and Jamie, you're there, are you?
I am here. I'm just trying to get my screen shared.
Good.
Can you see my screen?
Well, at least we know this part of the audio is working, and our sincere apologies. Not yet. Still seeing your, yeah.
All right, hang on. You know what,
It's coming. There we go. We can see your screen now.
All right, excellent.
Perfect. Over to you guys.
So just thank you guys for having us back. It's great to be back. Really appreciate you taking the time out. Again, this is an overview of Dragon Professional Anywhere, which is our latest and greatest solution. It's not brand new. We have hundreds of thousands of physicians in North America that are using this now. It was introduced as Dragon Medical One back in 2016. It's been introduced in Europe and EMEA since 2018, and now we are introducing it here to the North American market. So it's not a new product, it's just a new market. And as Doug had mentioned, it allows you to leverage Dragon on your desktop as well as Dragon Anywhere Mobile, so that you can have the ability to leverage your user profile and have Dragon speech recognition anywhere that you or the students need to work. We're going to discuss today how Dragon can be used as an assistive technology for those students with learning and physical disabilities. And I'm not going to kill you with death by PowerPoint. I just wanted to give a quick refresher, if you will. These are some of our team members. Again, this is just a refresher of what we have discussed in the past. And again, I'm going to dive right into the, excuse me, sorry about this, guys. So like I had mentioned, I apologize. I'm going to dive right into Dragon Professional Anywhere. We're going to do a couple of dictations. I'm going to do a dictation in email. I'm going to do a dictation in Microsoft Word. We'll discuss Dragon Anywhere Mobile. We'll discuss a couple of the additional features. As Doug had mentioned, we have a new functionality that is called Anchor Speech Focus, which will be very helpful, we think, for students that need an assistive technology like this that will allow them not only to do their dictation and write their reports with their voice 3 times faster than they can type, but Anchor Speech Focus allows them to do research and search the web as they're doing their dictations as well. And we'll do some discussions and show that also. Oh, excuse me, I apologize. I'm going to turn that off really quick, sorry. All right, so as I had mentioned, I'm going to do a couple of quick dictations. The first one I'm going to do is in email. Right now, I do not have Microsoft open. I'm going to give that command, and Dragon is going to take control of my computer. It is going to launch the application and will open a new email for me as well. Open new email. And it looks like it's opening it on the other screen. Of course it is. And I'll just move that over here. And just to give an understanding of some of the dictations that I'm going to be giving, I am going to be doing a dictation as if I were writing a letter to an attorney, a friend who's an attorney, opposing counsel, if you will. I'm just using our legal script, if you will. So hope you're all right with that. Dear Mr. Gambini, new paragraph. As you are aware, our office represents Acme Corporation with regard to the above referenced matter, period. New paragraph. Enclosed, please find a capital stipulation of capital discontinuance whereby third-party plaintiff, Maryland & Company, Incorporated, has discontinued all claims of their third-party action against Acme Corporation, period. Based upon all disclosure and deposition testimony, it is clear that Acme Corporation had no involvement in this action, and in fact, was not on the premises until 2019, period. New paragraph. It is requested that your offices execute the attached stipulations and return them to the undersigned as soon as possible, period. Your cooperation in this regards, scratch that. Your cooperation in regard to this matter is greatly appreciated, period. New paragraph. Insert my closing. New paragraph. Insert my signature. Click send. So as you can see, I talked and Dragon typed. It even took control of the keyboard and allowed me to send that email off. I would also have the ability to use my voice to edit and correct and update some of my document as well. So I'm going to do another dictation. This time it's going to be in Microsoft Word. It's going to be as a letter, if you will. New legal letter. And as I give Dragon the command, it's going to, oh, I think I said it too fast. Let me clear that. Sorry about that. Ooh. I don't know why it keeps on launching my anchor speech. Bill, do you want to jump in and take control here? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yep, and there's chat messages coming in that we can hear you.
Okay, cool. All right, so I apologize. I thought that I had.
It's the best day to have the audio gods against us here, having Dragon as our guest. So apologies, I don't know what to say.
No, that's all right. Today's technology is wonderful stuff when it is working. I do have the
there we go.
Excellent.
This is Bill. The mute button was disabled for me, so I had to request to be unmuted.
Oh.
So I think in one sense that, we'll discuss what is the major difference between, the traditional Dragon that you have come to know versus what is Dragon Professional Anywhere, kind of the architecture of that. But specifically in this example, I'm thinking you don't have focus on that window, so go ahead and click into that document.
Yeah. Okay,
and then begin dictating, because you were not on the document, you were just in the air somewhere with your cursor, and that's why the dictation box popped up.
I was wondering what I was doing wrong. Yeah. Excellent. So thank you, Bill.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, I gave Dragon the command to open a new legal letter. I am now actually, my cursor is correctly placed in the document. And now I'll be able to use my voice to navigate through this document. This is a bracketed document, so it's an auto text with variables, which allows me to navigate through the document with my voice. Next field. Insert Jonathan Smith. Next field. Tax matter. Next field. 080620. Next field. Dear Mr. Smith, colon. Next field. I appreciate the opportunity to advise you regarding this tax matter, period. To ensure a complete understanding between us, comma, I am stating the pertinent information about advice that I will be rendering and the facts that you provided to me, period. New paragraph. Responsibilities, colon, new paragraph. I use my judgment in resolving questions where the tax law is unclear or where conflicts may exist between the taxing authorities, period. Unless you instruct me otherwise, comma, I resolve such questions in your favor wherever possible, period. However, comma, the opinion I expressed does not bind the IRS, open paren, Internal Revenue Service, close paren, period. Thus, comma, I cannot guarantee the outcome in the event the IRS challenges my opinion, period. You remain responsible for any tax or related liabilities resulting from an adverse IRS or judicial decision, period. Next field. Insert my signature. Save for signature. And I'm not sure this is something that we had discussed or demonstrated when we met back in July, but this command actually allows or instructs Dragon to actually go ahead and save the document so that your students, whoever's doing their dictation, can submit or save their document easily with their voice as well. That's a step-by-step command, and you have the ability to give Dragon those variables or each step that is involved in a full overall command. And like I said here, I launched the document, used my voice to navigate through the document. I can go back and use my voice to correct anything that I wanted to. Select IRS. Hold that. Go to end. Navigate and use my voice to control the document as well, even to save the document.
Yeah, and to jump in, I think the not the auto text, but the step-by-step commands now in the world of Dragon Professional Anywhere, the fact that it has a web-based management tool that each end user can log in and create things. Depending how it's set up, a third party could help administer the software on behalf of an end user. That could be quite helpful in an assistive sense, because once you've created a successful step-by-step command, it's easy to copy that to the next person, tweak a variable here and there, but just reuse that over and over again. For example, if somebody wanted to do a new email, it is not hard, once you know what the command is, to launch Outlook or go to a particular website with a specific address. You're literally giving a voice command to a series of keystrokes, whether that's to change directories, go to a website, do anything you can figure out how to do with your keyboard or keyboard shortcuts can be then hooked with a voice command. And that may be quite compelling in an assistive situation where there's some dexterity issues. So, you know, which one is that? They say for signature? Sure, go ahead. So,
Yeah.
you know, that automated, I wrote this one, and it's expand hotkey, please. So there's a hotkey. So on a computer, it is telling me to and maximize the screen. It is telling me to press Control plus F. And that is actually to find something on a page. Then the next thing it says, all right, after you press Control plus F, I'm looking for the letters RE colon, right? Step-by-step commands and Dragon Pro individual. Great question. I don't, step-by-step commands. There may be step-by-step. Okay, what we're calling step-by-step in Dragon Professional Anywhere is more akin to what's called advanced scripting in the Dragon desktop products. So I would have to get back, Jamie, if we could take a note to kind of define that term and get the answer. Step-by-step, yes, there might be, depending on version, but the whole idea is that if you can identify the series of keystrokes, you can write that step-by-step. The difference between an individual product and Professional Anywhere or group is that an administrator of those applications can do it on someone else's behalf, whereas with individual, you know, unless you grab control of their computer, you're not going to be able to assist them.
Just to interrupt for half a sec here, guys. Just thank you for mentioning that, Wink. Is that with the questions popping up in the chat box, if you can just repeat the question, as not everybody has access to the chat box.
Okay, yeah. So
depending on the device that you're on.
So the question from Jim, our step-by-step commands available in Dragon Pro individual. I will have to get a data sheet out on that. I don't handle that product, but I believe they might be, but the step-by-steps in Dragon Professional Anywhere kind of cross over into the realm of advanced scripting, plus this being more of a group product, can be administered by a third party. Let me take a look through some of these questions here.
Yeah, I didn't see.
What is the best way to correct taxing? I'm not sure where that.
Oh, right there.
Well, you can use your voice in certain products, you know, like Microsoft Word and others, where you have full text control. You can say select taxing, and it will highlight that phrase, and you can dictate over it.
Select taxing.
And it's going to give you choices. So if some of the choices are there, if none of them, then you can just dictate over it or type over it.
Taxing.
Maybe.
So that's a good question. Yeah, you can certainly use your voice to do that. You can use your voice and have Dragon select and highlight like Bill had mentioned, a part of the dictation that you want to correct. You can select just a particular word. Or you can use your keyboard and mouse. No one's taking that away from you, but in this case, as an assistive technology, we want to be able to use our voice to do that. So I selected the utterance that was in question, the portion of that utterance that was in question, and just dictated over it to correct it. Did that answer your question?
I don't know. Yeah. It's in a chat window.
Gotcha.
I think it did. Okay. Thanks. Oh. Darren said yes. Thank you, Darren.
Excellent.
So there's another question. And Jamie, while we're answering this next question, do you have the architecture slide, the kind of the one pager that shows Dragon and the kind of how it's architected? So the next question says, if we have Dragon professional licenses, will there be an upgrade to Anywhere? There is an upgrade path or promotional price paths. It's not a technical upgrade as much as it is a an offer that we can extend to upgrade from previous versions to the latest version. So in a sense, yes, there's an upgrade, but it's not a straight line technical upgrade. It's a separate install. Speaking of install, And that is a huge, huge difference between Dragon Professional Anywhere and previous versions. This is a cloud-based product. If you think about your Apple phone or Siri or Google, when you press a little microphone on your phone, and you dictate a text message, that's not happening on your phone. That's going to the quote cloud, right? So that's what makes this different from an architecture standpoint. The speech recognition is now occurring on the back end in the cloud, whereas your current versions of Dragon, all 4 GB of the install is occurring on the local machine. So in this instance, the install is about 150 megabyte, not gigabyte, megabyte. And so it installs a lot faster from an IT perspective. And then is basically no hit to RAM or CPU because the processing is occurring off machine. So that is the big question. Next question. I train users on Math Talk with Dragon Naturally Speaking Professional Individual. Has anyone tested Dragon Anywhere with Math Dictation? To my knowledge, no. Nuance does not have access to that application, but I think it's worth maybe a separate session to get something in a lab environment. I don't know, Doug, if you've got access to these applications or some ability to get an evaluation copy in a quote lab environment with all these other third-party apps to see what works and what does not.
We can certainly look into that. That'd be a great idea. And Wink, thank you for bringing that question up, because math, voice dictated math has always been a challenge, no matter what we want to which way we want to look at it. And Wink has just answered the question I was going to pose, is that maybe we could reach out and include Wink in some of the testing there. And we do have an offer of volunteering to help with that. So we'll figure it out behind the scenes. I think that's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And, no better people to work with at Nuance to get us in touch with the people who can really give us these answers.
Yep, I appreciate that. We had a question, we're testing with somebody, we get a question, they said, oh, it's not acting as expected in my Gmail. Well, we tested it, one of our engineers tested it in his own personal Gmail, and it worked as expected. So, sometimes it's environmental things, whatever blockers that organizations might put on your computer. So things do behave differently on different machines. So really that's the purpose of the test, is to let's have access to the application. Let's run both side by side, put the cursor in the field and see what happens. There was another question that said, will this be replacing individual? I'll rephrase, will Dragon Professional Anywhere be replacing Dragon Individual? Not immediately. Both products are in the market. I think over time you'll see a migration towards Dragon Professional Anywhere, but there are still use cases where an on-prem, on your machine local application is more applicable. So there's nothing been announced in that regard. We've had Dragon Medical One, which is the medical sibling to this product, in the market for 5 years. And while we've done a great job there are still instances where there's, on computer speech rec licensing. So nothing's been announced on that.
Bill, you had asked about the architecture slide.
Sure. Just to kind of ground everyone in this this technology, and this would be the same slide if I was talking about Siri. That it is there's a application on your PC, and I'll come to the mobile in a moment. That Jamie, go ahead and shake that little user interface around. It's up at the top. Your Dragon bar. Left, to the left.
What do you want me to move? This?
There you go. That's it. So that is the interface for Dragon. It's gone from 3 buttons now down to 2. So that's what's on the computer right there. And you pick up your microphone or headset and you start recording. It is running through a Microsoft Azure data center, where all of the stuff that used to be on that laptop or PC is now been offloaded to massive data centers. And you saw in Jamie's demonstration how, the words didn't come out word by word. It was listening to the entire utterance, and then when there was a pause or a stop in the recording, it dropped it on the screen. So it is literally listening to you saying, okay, well, what do you mean? And that has really improved the accuracy because it's much more contextual. Another advantage of this model is that there are features on the desktop product today, individual and group, called acoustic adaptation. No one ever runs it. It's there. It'll improve your recognition, but it takes like overnight and it's a resource hog. So that concept of acoustic adaptation is occurring constantly in the data center on your behalf. So it's getting better on your behalf. So that's the huge advantage. Very small install, very quick response. You're always on the latest and greatest version, so you're never going to be on version 13 when there's no more versions. It's just, it's everywhere. It's there. The management server or application, depending how your organization is structured, that's what gives you the ability to manage licensing, users, manage auto text, create and share step-by-step commands, as well as run reporting. You know, if an organization had 40 or 50 seats of this, and maybe it's semester by semester, you want to see if they're still active or not. You can look up a productivity report to see, or a usage report. So there's a lot of tools available now as an administrator of this technology at your organization, you know, to not waste money, but to, you know, make sure that those you've issued it to are actually, you know, using it and using it properly. It does give you some tools in that regard. So that is the architecture. That's how it works. Let me take a look at the chat window real quick. Thank you very much. Oh, that's not it. Do you have more information? Yes, we do. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading the question in my head. Do you have information to provide individuals and organizations regarding the security and ownership of their dictations? Yes. Let me paste that into the window. Give me a moment. Sorry, I have to grab something on another screen. In the chat window is the Dragon Anywhere or Dragon Professional Anywhere End User License Agreement, or EULA for short. And that contains all the information and probably an additional link to privacy related items related to dictation. You know, the document, what you put, where you put your cursor and where the words come out, that's your document. You are certainly sending audio up and back, and we're sending you back text. But it's instantaneous. So somebody somewhere probably could look at what you're saying, but we have 350,000 doctors doing this every day, and they're absolutely cool with it. But there's the link for the end user license agreement. It does cover quite a large amount of territory in terms of privacy and ownership and things of that nature. And if you like reading legalese or user license agreements, have at it. It's real fun. I'm smiling, by the way. What else can we say, Jamie? So
we wanted to talk about the anchor.
You're very
speech.
welcome.
You want to dive into that?
Say again?
Anchor speech and then Dragon Anywhere Mobile.
Actually, very good. Yeah, we're going to jump to that. I mean, here's the other part of this. There's a mobile component. Now, this may or may not play well into, you know, assistive technology, but it might. There's an iPhone and an Android app that you can download called Dragon Anywhere Mobile, and it connects to your profile. So on an iPad, or, you know, you are speaking into the app, you can then transfer that text out to another application. You can email it to yourself and so forth. So if you have an iOS or a Google device, you may need to go with the mobile app, which would be perfect for iPad, iPhone, or Android devices. But it's accessing your app, your profile. So that's why we're calling it Anywhere. It's either PC or on the mobile device. So there's a question. Okay. Is there a way to use Dragon Anywhere Professional on a Mac? Yeah, no, I don't believe so. This is going to be on an iOS device, so I don't know much about Mac, but I don't think they're running iOS. It's going to be the iPad, iPhone application.
Yep.
Unless that Mac device boots to an OS partition, you know, a Windows partition, there's still no Macintosh support for Dragon. There was another question, can this product work without the internet, network speed? Okay, so the answer is no. It does require a persistent internet connection. What about its speed? Does it impact on the network? I have a number somewhere, but it's basically, I think it's 4 kilobits per second, and that's similar to dial-up speed in order to use the product successfully. So it is really compressed audio and not a big impact on the network. That's what the engineers tell me. It is a very tiny bit of traffic. Oh wait, iPhone app for iPad is a way to use DNS on a Mac. iPad is what I meant. Okay, thank you, Wink. Yes, go to the App Store. You would download the application for iOS and connect your account, and you would be able to use it on an iPhone or an iPad. Jim, to everyone, what is the cost? Is the subscription only? Cost-wise, I'm going to leave to Jamie and look at the group and see if we can put it together. We've got upgrades to consider and educational discounts. And you're correct, it is a subscription. There is no, it's an annual year-to-year subscription. And that is how it's configured.
Yeah, it's I mean, it lists at $55 per user per month, but like Bill mentioned, we can certainly discuss you know, upgrade pricing, because you do have some Dragon Professional individual out there, and that is eligible to be upgraded, as well as academic consideration also.
Yep.
Yep.
And I also mentioned that if there's an opportunity for, if you needed to test it out, it's way easier now. Pilots and trials of this technology we've done them, but this becomes way easier now because we can send a welcome kit to you via email. There's a link. You're downloading a 150 meg file, not a 4 gigabyte file, and getting somebody up and running remotely is way faster and way easier than with previous products that were just so massive. So keep that in mind as well, that we can, like we're saying with Wink and doing this test, if that app's on Wink's computer, we may need to set him up with a test on his machine with that math app, and let's try it. So it'll be a lot easier to do technical and or actual use case testing. Jamie, did you want to cover?
It was yeah, anchor speech focus. Can you show that? Do you want to show that? Do you want me to show that?
No, you've got your application open, and so my apologies. I'm not familiar with Wink, so.
As I had mentioned, sorry about that, Bill. Anchor speech focus allows you to, or the students to work in one document and search the web or do research in another application. What can I say?
So to kind of preface this, you know, the difference currently with Dragon, as we know it, wherever your cursor is, where you're getting the text. So what our customers have been telling us, and this comes a lot from our medical and lawyers and so forth, who typically have, you know, some source documents open, maybe some research on the internet, you know, if you're doing, you know, research papers and whatnot, that as soon as you move off of your Word doc or your Google doc, that's where your dictation is going. So they said, is there a way to kind of lock the cursor to the document I'm working on so that even when I move over to another page or application or document, I can keep dictating while I'm looking for something? And so the answer is yes, and that's called anchor speech focus, which can be invoked simply by saying anchor speech focus, and then can be turned off by saying release speech focus. So it is it's a tool that if you have only one screen like a laptop, and you've got to like toggle over to find something else in another document that's not cut and paste, maybe it's in a PDF and you just want to like quote or cite something from another resource, that you can dictate that citation while you're looking at it and it's not going off into Never Never Land. So that is available. And, you know, Jamie, you can lock the dictation, go to some web page and then come back, but you'll see that the dictation will be locked to that Word doc.
I'll give it a go right now.
Sure.
Anchor speech focus.
All right, you see that, the little lock icon that tells you. And now you start dictating in this document, Jamie. And then
This is a test of
switch over
anchor
to something
speech.
else.
I am testing anchor speech as I jump in and search Google.
Keep dictating some stuff.
I am going to continue dictating as I search LinkedIn. This is just a test.
You did it.
Look at
First
that.
time. Now, of course, you got to remember to release focus, right? So you would just say release speech focus.
Release speech focus. And
okay,
release
hang on a
speech
second.
focus.
Yep, there you go. And here's the thing, right? And Dragon's had this product too, but if you can't remember what the heck the command is, you always say, what can I say? You press the microphone or turn on the mic and say, what can I say? And it will bring up a list of things that you can say. It's right there on
Can
board.
I say?
That's I just told you. Good. Oh. And it'll tell you, okay, well, what do you mean? Do you want to talk about auto text? Do you want to talk about settings? Do you want to talk about formatting, navigation? Like, what do you want to talk about? My New York came out. What do you want to talk about? So there was a question from Darren to everyone. Is profile voice data keeping track of microphones being used? For example, my headset microphone versus my smartphone. I guess in a sense, I don't have to select, I don't have to do anything in my profile if I'm using a headset versus a microphone. You just, when you log into the application, it's going to remember the last time, if you're using a headset, a wireless headset, or a wired headset, or a microphone, it remembers your microphone selection. But if you switch, there's no separate acoustic model for a different microphone like in older versions. Essentially, it doesn't care. So if you're on your smartphone or on your computer, it's essentially agnostic to the input source. It doesn't care anymore. It has gotten that good. So yeah, you don't have to worry about switching from headset to microphone and mobile and having, now of course, background noise is always something, you know, in a mobile sense where, you know, if you're in a car with your radio on and the windows down and it's at arm's length away from you, yeah, it's going to have a different result than if you, hold it up to your mouth in an appropriate environment for dictating. So I guess, yes, it is tracking it somehow, but you don't have to. It knows, it's just listening for you. Oh, there was a question. So limited time trials are available. Yes, we are open to that. Let's have a chat. What we like to do with any trial or pilot is understand what your goals and objectives are so that at the end of the week or two, we know if we met them or not. So if it's, your goal and objective is, hey, will this work in math? I'm looking back at the application, this math app or this application. I don't know. Let's try. And so, yes, the answer is yes, we can do trials. We just need to give it a go. Wait, there was another question. Will this replace 30 money back guarantees? Well, the subscription is, I guess in a sense, we would rather you be sure before you sign up because once you sign up, there is no, if you will, money back guarantee. So I would say yes. And a pre-order test or a pilot can be accommodated just so that we don't have a situation where somebody goes, oh, this doesn't work for me. Let's find out ahead of time. So the answer is yes. Let's treat it that way. A little try before you buy, and we'll treat it like that. So, and in fact, that 30-day money back guarantee is only applicable to the individual products, kind of as a consumer type product. So we do a pre-sales test or trial to just to make sure it's going to meet your expectations. And if it does, sign up. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul.
That was really all that.
Turn off learn from dictation? Can you turn off learn from dictation? I'm trying to remember where that feature lives in Dragon Professional Individual. Jamie, click on your microphone icon or the Dragon icon. I want to see what options are in there. Yeah, I guess the answer to the question, I don't think so. Oh, learn from, I guess I don't know the question. Can you turn off learn from dictation?
Darren, if you're able to, the settings have been changed. You should be able to unmute yourself, and we're getting to the end of our session here today. So it's going to be very, very soon that we're coming up with questions anyways. So maybe this is not a bad idea to, Darren, if you want to ask your question vocally, if you're able to. And if not, if you can just clarify maybe a little further in the chat window. And as we've all gotten used to over the recent COVID stuff, is we sit patiently while we wait for typing or an unmute. So Darren is further saying, can you turn off learn from dictation? Oh, I apologize. I thought I saw further. Yeah, if you don't want to influence your profile is what Darren is getting at.
So I'm going to have to kind of interpret the question in that, when you make corrections, and when you saw Jamie's thing pop up when he said taxing and it gave some choices, if he had selected one of those options, you're affirmatively telling the program, hey, this is what I meant when I say something like this, and you're training your profile on certain words. But there's no way, I don't think, to turn off its adaptation because it's just set to learn from you, so that it produces better results the next time. But the correction process, if you skip that and don't correct it, or add a word to the vocabulary, then I guess in a sense you're not really contributing to your vocabulary. Oh, are you worried about corrupting your profile by having some really poor audio?
Yeah, I think that's what
that might have sounded like. Okay. Again, I don't think Dragon cares. It's not. If it's noisy and the recognition, you'll know right away if the noise is too much because the recognition results are going to be pretty poor. But that's not going to hurt anything. As far I have not heard anything that dictating in a noisy environment. We deal with emergency rooms. We deal with police and noise. I think they've figured out that acoustic model that it's not going to corrupt your profile like previous versions, like you're adding bad audio or somebody barred your profile, that kind of thing. So I don't know specifically, but Jamie, if we could find out if using a noisy environment will somehow corrupt a profile or influence it.
Yep, I took it. Yep.
We've got another question here from Anne, is asking, for a Mac user, the only option is Dragon Anywhere mobile app. As individuals looking for a subscription to Dragon Anywhere, they must be using either a PC, Windows, laptop, or desktop then?
Sorry, I missed that. For a Mac user, the only option.
And feel free to unmute yourself and jump in if you want as well.
Yes, that is correct. So the desktop or computer application is Windows. The mobile is iOS or Android. but a Mac OS is not supported.
Caitlin is saying that it's really hard to hear you. Caitlin, could you just clarify who it's?
Testing 1, 2.
I think she sent me the message, so I'm assuming that she's meaning me, but just if you can clarify, because I'd hate to know that it's all of us, Caitlin. Okay, so we got Anne's question, Darren's question, and then, it was Caitlin is just saying it's just me. Most people would like to be able to say that know me would like to say what you're doing, Caitlin, is that they can hardly hear me. Most people say I don't stop talking. So I'm speaking up a little bit. Caitlin, hopefully that's better for you. So Jamie, Bill, what else do you have to show us in this Dragon, this new Dragon offering? Is there anything else that you wanted to show us specifically? Anything that you think a person with a disability might be able to use, or in an educational setting like that? The anchor text is well. There was lots of comments about cool, and I'm just going to say, well, that kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out again, thank you for the opportunity. We were here, just meeting with the gang a couple of months ago. We've since introduced our latest and greatest, and just wanted to come back and, reintroduce the Professional Anywhere and make sure you understood some of the differences, especially from an assistive technology perspective. Like we said, the anchor speech and Dragon Anywhere mobile for additional platforms, or the ability to leverage Dragon anywhere, and additionally always having access to the latest and greatest version of Dragon. So
I think there's one more question, and I'd rather duck and weave it, but let's see if we can handle it. Are you looking to make it work on a Mac? Presently, there are no plans. Now, this is just opinion on my side that, let's bring that up to our product team. Let's keep the pressure up. We had it, we don't have it, but now it's the potential to spin up a Mac user interface is, I think, more possible than in the past, where we're going to make a complete new version, right? All the speech recognition is occurring in our data center. We'd have to have some sort of app for the Mac. But I can't promise, and it's one of those we'd have to know what the market and the business case is for it. I know the reason they killed it off in the last place was, that it was dwindling and numbers were showing that. But I think since we don't have to create a whole new version for a local Mac computer and all the support thereof, we're making them for iOS and Android. Maybe it's just another app. That's purely opinion, but I think it's more possible than impossible now, but nothing is on the roadmap. But let us know if let's keep sending in those messages, and let's see if we can't figure out what is this. What a company like us needs is to know the relative potential for that marketplace. So how many Mac users are there in this space that require the product, and just some order of magnitude would be very, very helpful. And we would rely on the industry to tell us, right? What is people in assistive technology, what is that breakdown? Is it a 100% Google shop, Mac shop, iOS? What's going on out there so that we can, size the opportunity properly?
That's great. I've taken the screen share back just as we close out and come to an end here today, guys. There's still a few questions coming through the chat, and I do want to just encourage people that as we wrap up, that if there are any other questions, to please put them in the chat, and you do have the option to unmute.
Okie dokie.
Microphone speak. So if you're unmuting your microphone, I'll call on you as that comes up. Yes, so Anne, please go ahead, and then we'll get back to some of the questions that are left over in the chat here that we haven't addressed yet.
Hi, Jamie. Hi, everyone. I cannot explain to you here at Queen's. I have students referred every week who are Mac users who are looking for speech to text, and I'm constantly having to say, I'm sorry, it's not available.
Okay.
And I was so hoping, guys, that you would be saying to me in this conversation today that because this is cloud-based, that there is that Mac compatibility. I recognize that creating two comparable or disks or downloadable options was not business worthy. I get that. But when you're looking at cloud-based, it just seems to me like having that option there might be an investment, but it would be so beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
The Mac Dictation built-in tool doesn't even come close to what Dragon does, unfortunately. Thanks, Jim, for that suggestion. But no, there's Dragon, and then there's everything else. And
I appreciate that. Yeah, no,
there
are some
truly
built-in
is. You guys own this. You guys own this, and there's a whole pocket of your population that just doesn't have access to this quality of this dictation tool because it's not available in Mac format. And I can't convey to you enough how important that is for our students.
I'm noting it in. I'm taking it down again, and we'll share the feedback for sure. And I appreciate the input.
I appreciate it.
And to kind of tie off on that, I mean, some comments in the chat in terms of investment and price point and so forth. I think that, you know, that's our commercial price point, and you know, if we're looking at the education space and considering Mac, I mean, we would need some input from the community to say, okay, well, what is supportable? You know, you know, to come up with a solution is not just technical. You know, something that's also can be afforded by the community and is something that is worthwhile going down the road of doing. You know, that from a business perspective, not the fact that the students can't have it, but you know, that all goes in. You know, it's so that would be important feedback too. You know, there are freeware options on your computer from Cortana to Mac to, you know, Google Dictation. So on the one end there's free, and then on the other end there's you know, paid for. Somewhere in there is the right number.
Yeah, no, and remember too that many of these kids are going to the bursary for students with disabilities funding to purchase their adaptive technology, and I'm sure that that's the Ontario equivalent. I'm sure there's something in the U.S. that is identical, and so you know that needs to be factored in as well. It's not just the affordability; it's what will the bursary support, and that I know Doug deals with this on a regular basis as well. So, but this is a tool, guys, that just isn't comparable to any other product out there.
We think so too, Anne, and appreciate that. We will certainly push internally for you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We're talking to the right people here, guys. Question and a comment.
Yeah.
Yes, so, thank you. I have done technology workshops comparing Dragon with the other dictation possibilities that are out there.
Oh,
the last one I did was at Accessing Higher Ground last year. And what I pointed out, the room was filled with people from universities, right? So we're all talking about students who have to use the dictation at a really high sophisticated level. They can't use the Cortana. They can't use Google Voice. They can't use the stuff that's simple, that's available and free on the computers, because it's not sophisticated enough to do research. It's not sophisticated enough to do indices and bibliographies and footnotes, for example, which are things that Dragon can do when it's hooked up with a decent document processing like Microsoft Word. The other thing that I used to do presentations on the Dictate for Mac some years ago before it was abandoned, and I thought it was inclusive to be able to offer information about both the Windows system and the Mac system. But now what I have to tell them is, if you have a Mac, you have to set up the parallel operating systems. And for students with disabilities, this just becomes too burdensome to to dictate on one operating system and copy the text to another. It doesn't, it's not seamless work. So if there's a way to, if you can't get a full-blown software, I understand the development stuff behind this and how hard it is to keep up with what Mac does on their upgrading their operating systems. I understand it's hard, but if there's a way to get the Dragon Anywhere app to work on a Mac system, this would solve huge problems for dictation for students who already own an Apple product. So that's my 2 cents worth in encouraging you all to do this. And from the United States perspective, we cannot charge students for their accommodations, and we don't necessarily have financial aid that's available for them to buy the product. So this is in the United States, for universities, this would become a very complicated financial matter to petition for enough money in the budget to pay for a subscription service for several hundred students a year.
So this is a question. So in terms of that, the current model is they give you like a one-time grant, and then that is spent on.
We don't get grants not necessarily. At the college where I was in Arizona, we had departments made their own budgets, and the budgets were approved within the college itself. So it wasn't grant based; it was based on a college operating budget.
I see.
So,
well, this is great input and great questions and sincerely great feedback. I really appreciate it. I hope that this was in line with what you were hoping and expecting we would discuss and we would cover. We will go back and answer all the questions that were presented in the chat again, so you have a copy of those. What other questions did you have that we haven't touched on?
There's just a confirmation for Darren. Darren had just asked if the $55 a month was an educational price, and you guys, I just wanted to confirm that you had acknowledged that no, that's not an educational price, and that it's time to talk about that individually and look at the future for educational pricing. So thank you again for raising that, Darren, and clarifying it. And please, Bill or Jamie, if I'm wrong on any of these that I'm kind of stop me. Lisa was asking if there's availability of a trial without a credit card, and I think you talked about that earlier in regards to connect with you guys, and then you can look at doing a trial and with kind of a hope to proceed.
Yep.
And another. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's correct. We just time boxed the test and just coordinated. It's not like here insert credit card and stuff. You know, it's
okay.
You know, we want to make sure the end user is going to be successful with it as well. And if they are, you will know pretty quick. If they're not, we'll know pretty quick.
Exactly. Exactly.
And it'll if it's not used, it just times out.
Okay. All right. So that's great to confirm that is an option. And then Paul has got a question that I think you might you definitely want to if you can't respond to us, you definitely want to take this one away for your development team. Paul is saying that they use Lockdown Browser for testing, like for exam, remote exam delivery. And they're wondering if you're working with that company to ensure your software works to its full capabilities within the platform. Speaking behind the scenes, I think reading between the lines, Paul is saying is that Dragon does kind of work with Lockdown Browser environments, but not really. So is there anything you can share with us today about that, Jamie or Bill, or is it one to take away for the development team?
That's a great question. Bill, are you familiar with Lockdown Browser? I am not. I can certainly inquire internally.
So we're getting a lot of questions about browsers for test taking. That would definitely be something we'd need to bring back to development, and certainly if there's access to the technology through the community here to say let's try it, because that's the thing with a lot of stuff. You know, we don't have we have a lab, but we don't have every piece of hardware and possible configuration. So sometimes we just have to try it in the field.
Yep.
So think that pulls us back to the to joining Wink in a test environment. Then I think it sounds like we'd all be fortunate to be able to have that experience moving forward and being able to do that. So again, I've said it before, and I will continue to stand by it, is that Bill and Jamie are two of a team that is phenomenal. And if you haven't watched the previous webinar, it's in the events, past events part of our site, is to watch that, where a few other people from his team were with us. And we've got an in to the experts at Nuance that have the ability to get these answers and help us figure these things out. But more importantly, they want to work with us and they want to hear these things. So, and Jamie, Bill, this is your once in a lifetime opportunity to back out and say no, if I'm wrong on that, but you'd be going back on everything you've told me right up till like 5 minutes before we started today. So, no. Yeah, so not to put you on the spot, but I don't think we're going to let you back out. So yeah, let the floodgates open.
Yeah, we're not backing out.
And Paul, thank you be the first to bring these for us, so that we can get to the, yeah. So
there's a couple of other examples there. Honor lock has been mentioned, as well as I included Examity.
Yeah.
Yep. And Alice is just confirming that another comment about the fees, so something for you to take back, that it does, sometimes these fee models don't necessarily work with the educational environment based on the way we have to work. So educational pricing is maybe some specialized beast that might need to be tamed in its own unique way, and obviously not a universally unique way for different states, provinces, and countries. And another vote for Mac version, and Wink is excited, and yes, Lisa will be providing the contact information as part of the replay. And do you guys have a contact information slide that you can pop?
Oh, that's a great question.
That's your slide, Jamie.
Something that's not included in the. I just gave you back the ability to screen share there if you want to pop it up.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's okay. And we've got, again, Alice mentioning about honor lock, so that was one to include, and Anne about Examity for proctoring, and Wink wants to know if it works in other languages. And apologize, that message came to me privately. Wink, I'm assuming you mean you want to know if the product we're looking at today actually works in other languages. So guys.
English and French in North America.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so English and French.
Correct.
Any Spanish?
Not available. Well, sounds silly, but not available in North America, but I believe it's available in our European markets.
So it wouldn't be much then for you to ask the development team to bring that over to us.
I mean, the technology exists. It's internal market maps.
Sorry, I wish.
But you know, the problem is with the Spanish or French, I could use it, but I wouldn't know if it's right or wrong.
Well, that's true, and half the time, most of us don't know that in English. Am I right?
I'm like, huh? Although I did hear a French-speaking, a veterinary pathologist from Montreal dictating about a dog with cancer, and I was like, it sounds so nice, but I know it's bad. And it's like Dupont. I'm like, what's that? That's a colon. The 2 points. I guess I mashed my French, but it was Dupont, and it got it. It was like came out. Give you a colon instead. So yeah, languages. Yeah, English, French, and then in Europe, you know, we've got the Spanish, German, Swiss German. There's probably a couple more, and then the Nordic areas, Swedish and so forth.
Wink, give it another question.
That's great. So it's the progress with the other languages.
I was trying to type it, and I'm not typing fast enough to keep up with myself because I use Dragon on my computer, and I can't do that and this at the same time. I have Dragon Naturally Speaking in Spanish, French, Portuguese, and English.
Oh, you got the language packs for those, yeah.
I used to be a foreign language professor, and I used this in the classroom in the target language to use it on PowerPoint so it would like dictate what I was saying to the class and show it up on the screen. But I deal with people all over the world when I do these trainings at these giant tech conferences. And when people contact me because they know I know a lot about Dragon, it's like, where can I get this in Portuguese? Where can I get this in Spanish? Where can I get this? So if you're not marketing it here, can you find out how we can point people in your direction to get it from an overseas market somewhere?
We could try. I think it's got a lot to do with what they call them data packs and vocabularies in our data center. And like our North America data center is deployed English and French. So it sounds easy, but it's not as easy as it sounds to deploy another language pack. But maybe it is. You know what it is? It can be sent. It's just got to be tested. And yeah, I guess it's not impossible. I don't know how we would do it, but keep the questions coming on that because we'll try and figure out if they could, sign up for a different language. We'd have to figure out.
Well, here's the deal. If you've got regular Dragon Naturally Speaking in your desktop, you have the sophisticated version of Microsoft operating system, that's an international version. You can install the software with using the English command system, or you can install the software using the other language command system. So for someone like me who uses the commands in English, having the software installed with English as the command system is fine, but I speak all those other languages, so I wouldn't care if it was je parle aussi bien le français, right? I could do the commands in French. There are ways to do it. I don't know how it would work on a Mac because I'm not sophisticated enough on the Mac operating system or the iPad operating system to know how that worked, but it does work on the PC.
That's a plateful, I think, Wink, for everybody to look into and take back and forth, and yeah.
I like to ask lots of good questions.
You do. I love it, and the input and the questions, the interaction has been spectacular. I really appreciate the time and the attention and the input and feedback as well. These questions are awesome. The Mac feedback was great as well, and I remember it from last time, and we'll take the feedback back every time we hear it. So please keep it coming, and our contact information is up on the screen. So please, Doug will share that out as well. If there are any questions that come up after the fact, don't hesitate to reach back out. I hope this was in line with what you were hoping and expecting that we would touch on and cover, if not exceeded your expectations.
From my perspective, and that in of some of the comments already, definitely. There's two questions left here that if we can answer them quickly, that then I do appreciate everybody staying around that has been able to, but it's not a problem to go over time, but in respect of everyone's time. Alice had her microphone unmuted, so Alice, if you did want to speak, go ahead, and then we'll head over to the question that's left over from Jim.
Well, I just wanted to, a little bit tandeming on what Wink was having to say, I could see keeping, we have the individual professional licenses for our laptops and our standalone, mainly because the testing center, I have 5 campus locations. The testing center is not the place where the students that are getting extra time on tests and using voice to text would take their tests. They take them, one of us unfortunately has to proctor those exams. And so we have to get the student's voice onto that. But then I could also see that way being one way that if you could get a language package, for example, if, you know, we do have Spanish courses at our college. We have French. We used to have German. I don't know if we still do or not, but, you know, if we could have the ability to buy those language packs. I know I have a really old version of Spanish in my file cabinet. So if we can do that, and then perhaps mix around the licenses for the Anywhere, so that students could have access to that from varying site campuses. I really don't know, because with the enrollment dropping it in our state, in Tennessee, and students have been withdrawing early already. We're in our 7th week and we've got a 9% drop rate already. So because the online space is just not a suitable place for some of our community college students. I anticipate that'll happen again in the spring, because we have 2 to 3% classes on ground and everything else is online. So we'll just have to wait and see what, if anything new is approved. I'm doubtful about that. So, but I could see from what Wink was saying, where you could keep the standalone license and maybe add language packs to that for the languages. But we would need to know, especially in the educational market, where, you know, how we would purchase those.
Okay, thank you, Alice. Any comments regarding that, Bill or Jamie, or?
We're certainly, you know, willing to discuss the academic or educational pricing and different options individually. You know, I'm absolutely open to, like I said, the pricing and everything that we've discussed has been just based off of our suggested retailer list pricing. It doesn't take educational pricing into consideration. In regards to mixing with Anywhere, we can certainly discuss that as well. Bill, do you have any thoughts, or you want to elaborate?
Can you just repeat that? Something caught my eye. My bad. So in terms of pricing and keeping the on-prem software, I mean, there's nothing prohibiting you from keeping your current application. You purchased that, you own it. It's a perpetual license, so that's yours.
And in regards to mixing like language packs and
I don't think so easy with Dragon Professional Anywhere, because that's going to require that to be installed in the data center, tested, installed, rolled out, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So it's not something an end user could do. It's got to be already on board. Kind of like when you see we have our law enforcement edition, our professional, and our legal. Those are all, you get what you get because that's what's on the list, right? So it has to come through the data center and be made available, you know, for that SKU or part number. First, it's got to be in the data center, right? It's got to be there in order to be exposed. But it's got to be tested. So we have various language packs being tested for various, you know, levels, and that's always ongoing. So a lot of times it's depending on the market demand for, you know, U.S. English and Canadian English and French was absolute. If somebody said, oh, we got to have Spanish, then the business case would be written up and they would spin up the resources to put it in the data center. Yeah, I mean, we don't, to some extent now we don't control, it's not an individual product. A single change affects plenty of people. We can't just do, you know, very hasty changes to the data center.
Okay.
Okay, that's
muddied
great.
The waters a bit there, but and I think, was it Ann or Alice, were you asking a question about something about mixing Anywhere? I don't think I understood your question.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to be able to do in the spring, which is typically when I can request, but I do have 6 of Professional that are on standalones.
Okay.
I don't know, you know, what, if anything, we can get approved, and if we would get that approved for just a few numbers of seats, so that we would still renew our annual license, and then maybe add the Anywhere on a couple of seats. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, Bill, Jamie, Alice, everyone. I just want to kind of bring us to a conclusion here. And Jim's question, I think, is a perfect summary. Thank you, Jim, for asking it this way. Is just either Bill or Jamie or both of you, if you can describe the difference between Dragon Professional Anywhere and just Dragon Anywhere, and kind of bring it into focus for us as we.
Sure. Yeah, Bill can elaborate, but the Dragon Professional Anywhere, and the names can be confusing. Where Dragon Anywhere is just the mobile phone app, just the mobile piece. Dragon Professional Anywhere combines it's the newest version of Dragon, so it's Dragon hosted or the cloud-based version for the desktop, and it also includes access to Dragon Anywhere Mobile, the mobile piece as well. So it combines both of them, where Dragon Anywhere is just the mobile piece only. Did that answer your question? Did that muddy the waters? Bill, do you want to elaborate?
No, that's correct. Dragon Anywhere is a consumer-based mobile application. Dragon Professional Anywhere is the product we talked about today, which has a desktop and mobile component. I suspect over time, our marketing teams will get their arms around the naming conventions. But until then, we will definitely answer that question again. So thank you for asking it. We sometimes confuse it as well.
Yeah, it can certainly be confusing.
I've been guilty of calling it Dragon Everywhere. They're like, it's Dragon Anywhere. I'm like, I'm just going to call it Everywhere. Like, no, you can't do that. Like, I'm just going to call it Everywhere. Like, that's like a marketing no-no. I'm like, yeah.
That's the Freudian slip that will influence your marketing team beyond belief. They just don't know it yet.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks for noticing.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you,
All
guys.
right, guys.
Better than Dragon Nowhere. How about that? It's way better. Dragon Anywhere.
Well, some would say that's the slogan for Mac users. But on that,
I opened myself up to that one.
So we'll just at this point, what we'll do at this point is just I've resumed the screen sharing there. So I just again, thank you, Jamie and Bill, for taking the time with us today. Echoing Anne's latest comment in the chat box of just thanks for taking the time and being patient.
Our pleasure.
With
thank
all
you.
These comments, and back and forth and suggestions. Taking those back to your team. Way back a number of months ago when I was introduced to you guys and you agreed to speak to me a second time, third time, and I don't know how many times we're up to now. You may still be regretting that, and I don't apologize.
Not at all.
But please know that the community, the assistive tech community of professionals, the network of assistive technologists, and myself personally, we sincerely appreciate the effort that Nuance is making to work with us and listen to us, and within the reality of the cogs of big business and the enterprise that Nuance is, they're doing what they can. Please understand that. And for those who mentioned that they'd be willing to participate in some testing and scenario running and things like that during this session today, yes, we'll be in touch with you, and we do have. Yes, thanks for confirming, Wink. I will just get through that information. And Jamie and Bill, they are famous for getting back with the answers to the questions and putting them in a nice, easy to read format. Jamie, thank you for doing that last webinar. So they'll likely be doing that again for this. So that'll be posted with the replay. And just as assistive tech professionals, we're always looking to add to the toolbox. We never have all the answers, and at the same time, we can never have too many options. So today, you've brought us Dragon Professional Anywhere. You've updated our knowledge on some of the other programs that Nuance offers, which is great as well. It's no doubt it's going to further assist every single one of us and those that we serve. So again, Jamie, Bill, and everyone here today, thank you for your support of our profession and the network of assistive technologists. Keep in touch. Look forward to continuing our relationship with Nuance. And there's been a number of comments in various ways in the chat about bringing you back for future sessions.
Awesome.
So hopefully you won't block our
Oh no, this we appreciate
phone
the
number or my
opportunity and appreciate you guys taking the time out of your days. We look to build long-standing, mutually beneficial relationships, and again appreciate the opportunity and you guys taking the time.
Okay, well that's great, and again thank you both. And lastly, for everyone that's here today and those watching the replay, thanks for joining us. And remember, you can't spell education without AT. Until next time, take care and stay safe.
Bye, guys.
Bye.